And I feel a whole bunch better.
I love gambling, don't worry. I'm not a wowser.
Get worried about the world.
Wowser
Oh,
means.
no, I was down there, sorry.
Have you heard that?
I would never leave you.
Wowser means,
Ever, you know that.
you don't
I
get.
figured Dave didn't
Oh,
tell
okay.
you
Yeah,
the
that's
story.
how you guys do that. Speaking of
No,
Spain,
we're from
I
this
was
side
down
of the
there.
pond.
I was like, oh, I better run up there and see what's in the afternoon.
I haven't been back. Since 20.
Can you give me
There's a few people that
it's 5:29.
Are you ready to go?
Anything on?
My goodness,
Um,
Good evening, everyone.
Oh my God.
Good evening, everyone. We're gonna welcome to the study session, if you will, for tonight's. We'll be covering PACE and the opportunity tree presentations, and I'll turn it over to you, Mary, for call to order and roll call, please.
Mr. Hayes?
Here.
Mr. Hunt?
Here.
Mr. Wilkie?
Here.
And Mrs.
Here.
Mr. Lavender.
Yes, sir. We have our principal from PACE here tonight, and she's gonna be giving an overview on how things are going this first year. So welcome, this is Danzy.
Hello. Good. Good afternoon or early evening, depending on how you look at it.
All right, thank you. Good to see you all.
That sounds good.
Yeah, we can.
Thank you. My favorite. Good to see everyone. I wanted to share just some first semester reflections regarding our students, our staff, where we're going, what we're seeing, and just an all-around review of everything that has happened of significance, and some of these things are pretty significant with PACE. Thanks. Okay, so just kind of a review of the culture of our school, the culture of our campus, and what we're focusing on. We are a personalized competency-based school, which means that we want to make sure that we are learning our students as individuals. We are providing opportunities for them to master very specific skills, some of those skills being durable skills, which were those things that we looked at with community partners, industry, and businesses to see what was lacking and what needed support. There are some very specific things about personalized competency-based learning that are unlike the traditional campus. And so you can see a couple of bullet points here, and I want to share just a little bit of information with you regarding some of those bullet points. We've had a wonderful opportunity this year to get a ton of data and information from our scholars, from our staff, from attempting from family members. And as you'll see in some of the challenges, we don't always get the best turnout when it comes to surveys and sending it out to the family. But we've had a chance to use 3 different surveys outside of what the district actually used this year to get some feedback and to get information in where we are and what our students are feeling, what our staff is feeling. And so we used a Transcend Leaps survey, we've used a Kelvin Pulse survey, and we've used a Qualtrics survey. So related to the very first bullet in a personalized competency-based learning environment, it says that students daily make important decisions about their learning experiences, how they would create and apply knowledge, and how they would demonstrate their learning. Well, we want to make sure that we are doing what we said we were doing. And so that was part of the feedback that we asked for from our students. And I'm glad to say that 83% of our students feel like they have goals for their learning and they have a choice in how they pursue them, which is a pretty strong number, especially at the start. Assessments in a personalized competency-based learning are meant to be very authentic and very meaningful. And so when we're talking about how we assess the students' growth, how we assess their mastery of whatever skills. Those assessments need to really have actionable evidence to them. And a lot of times we try to make sure that they have some kind of impact. So it's not just assessment for assessment's sake, but really, really using those results. Third bullet down, students receive timely, differentiated, support-based feedback and information. 74% of our students say we meet them where they are, which is fantastic because we want to make sure that they feel supported. We want to make sure that we are giving them the things that they need individually to be successful. Student progress is based on evidence of mastery or competency and not seat time, and I'll share a little bit more specific information about what that looks like and how we measure that in some of the upcoming slides. Students learn actively by using different pathways and varied pacing. Strategies to ensure equity are embedded in the culture, the structure, and the pedagogy of schools and education systems. And we have rigorous common expectations for learning, and they're explicit, transparent, measurable, and transferable. And 72% of our students feel that we have rigorous learning expectations, according to our Kelvin survey. Now, there are some things that you really have to look at when you're thinking about transformation and you are trying to transform a system. And these are some of the most important things that you need to pay attention to and really focus on and be intentional about when you're trying to transform a system. Shared vision, culture, agency, and transparency. These were some of the things that I also discussed when we were talking about the strategic plan for the school and what we were trying to accomplish within this first year and within the next few years. We definitely know that it takes a village. We use that thinking in our model of how we approach the students. So it takes many to truly support one. And so we do have teams. Our staffing is a team model so that we can use distributed expertise, and there's not one staff or advisor / teacher that feels like they need to be the end all be all and have every answer. And so our collective actions influence our student outcomes. Everybody has a role, everybody has a stake in what happens. We wanted to make sure that we developed a strong school and workplace culture. And so a lot of the initial surveys that we did revolved around the culture of the campus and the climate of that campus and how students and families feel about a number of different dimensions: safety, engagement, teacher-student relationships, sense of belonging, cultural awareness and action, learning strategies, rigorous expectations, fairness, and diversity and inclusion. And that was a must because it was connected to the New Schools grant that we got. Those were things that we needed to be paying attention to and making sure that we are measuring and addressing. And so just as we're going through, you'll see that a lot of information being shared fits into one of these different categories. It's going to fit under the culture or school vision, agency, and transparency. And transparency is a big deal when it comes to a structure in a system that's so uniquely different, and it doesn't necessarily follow the normal ABC setup or the normal grading systems and submission of work. So we needed to make sure that whatever we put out there that was student facing or family facing was very clear and easy to understand. And so that was how we actually decided to go with the data dashboards and the platforms that we have, because it was the ease of understanding for those who are not in education, who haven't really seen this kind of information, who are not sure about what some of these things mean. We did a pulse check survey in January, and it came out as 80% favorable. Just the overall summary had 80% favorable ratings, which was fantastic. That told us that we are doing what we said we were going to do as far as how our students feel about their learning experiences, the learning environment, and the opportunities that they have. So culture is a big priority for us. And so we looked at three different areas on the pulse check. We look at more dimensions and more areas when we do the longer checks. But when we do pulse checks, we just kind of go back to those areas that we're really trying to hone in on and focus in on. And this was one of them, the sense of belonging and school connectedness. What is it? It's a positive sense of being accepted, valued, and included by others, the teacher, your peers in all school settings. Students and parents report a feeling of being welcome at school. In a personalized competency-based system, the culture is built on relationships and sustained around the expectations and innovative mindsets, the celebrations of growth and continuous improvement at all levels of this system. And we did see that we had a 27 increase in this dimension from the very first pulse check that we did. And so we asked 2 questions on this particular pulse check related to school connectedness, and this was how the students responded. The teachers at this school treat students fairly. 84% of them believe that to be true. We said, do you feel like you are a part of this school? And 80% of the 45 who responded said that they feel that is the case. And one of the things that I definitely learned from attending the Safety Summit, I think it was back in April, was that the best way to prevent plotters or attackers is to really develop those strong, positive relationships to help students learn how to self-regulate and to make sure that there was a sense of belonging and connection amongst all of the students. Here was one of the other areas, one of the dimensions that we looked at, climate for support for academic learning, because of course it's not just about the feel of it, it's about making sure that they also are academically successful, but there are some foundational things that must be present in order for us to go that route. And so if students and teachers feel that there is a climate conducive to learning and that teachers use supportive practices such as encouragement, constructive feedback, varied opportunities to demonstrate knowledge and skills, support for risk-taking, and independent thinking. The atmosphere is conducive to dialogue and questioning, academic challenge, and individual attention to support differentiated learning. And that is actually a lot. One of the things that stood out when we started getting into the groove and really learning our students and identifying who we have was that students were afraid to participate. They really were not used to having those conversations, asking the questions, especially coming out of scenarios where they are working from a computer, which is what happened in COVID. And a lot of them did not return back to a traditional classroom. A lot of them went to school online. And so again, they did not have that connection. And so it took a little bit of work to be able to get them to feel comfortable enough to start to want to have those conversations. And that's also what our advisory is about, making sure that students have an adult that they are really connected to and feel supported by, that they see on a regular basis, so that every student has that one supportive adult. And you'll see the responses. Adults at the school encourage me to work hard so I can be successful in college or at the job I choose. 82% of our students say yes. My teachers work hard to help me with my schoolwork when I need it. 82% of our students said yes. Relationships. You keep hearing me say something about relationships. Again, relationship is the driving motivator behind this particular structure. And so it's really important to develop and maintain strong relationships, not just amongst the students and the staff members, but also amongst students themselves. So when you take a look at the questions or the statements that were shared with students, you can see in this one, there's a big difference. Teachers are available when I need to talk to them. 91% of our students said yes. But this one right here took me by surprise. Students respect one another. Only 62% of students feel like they have respect and show respect for one another. But what I found out when I met with the lead for the new schools, I guess, the new schools launching schools, she had a number that was much lower than this based on every student that participated in this particular survey, and I think there were about 3,000. Our students actually, the favorable response was 10% higher than theirs. And even just within all 9 dimensions, what I saw was that we scored higher in every single dimension than the average of all of those students put together. So that made me feel good because we're starting off very, very well as related to where students are generally. And it was very specific looking at 9th and 10th graders only because those are the students that we service. And just a little bit of a tidbit of information. That first one, teachers are available when I need to talk with them. Initially, when it came to student-teacher relationships, our original score when we started this was in the 50s. So that's a nice jump, and we want to keep that jump. We want to keep moving in that direction. Academic tracks. These may be familiar to some of you that were in previous meetings where we talked about what it looks like trying to get clarification of the path that students will follow. You can see year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. In the potential courses, I say potential, some of them are core, they're required, but then others are elective and opportunities based on where the students feel that they want to really place their focus as far as career development and pathway exploration. We do have a number of our students, and it's going to be our 10th graders who will be 11th graders. They will be, and we're making it a big deal because it is kind of a big deal. They will be selecting their career cluster focus and what they want to actually specialize in. And we'll do a whole little ceremony with that so that it's something that's meaningful for them and they realize how important that is, that you're making that decision and you're making that investment in yourself, and they're going to have to sign off on kind of a promise to self. This is what I'm saying I'm committing to for me in order to be successful. You heard me mention a little bit about competencies and how it looks very different. Here's an example of one competency. Actually all the core areas, all of the core areas have competencies attached to them. And every competency has sub-skills. So when you look at the left side of the screen, you'll see where the competency is labeled, and then you'll see the sub-skill that goes with it, okay? Students are scored from a level 2 all the way up to a level 12. It follows the progression of their performance. And so when you look at level 2, you'll see this is the most basic of what students are able to do within this particular competency on this skill. In order for them to move from level 2 up, you can see in level 4, there are some bolded black words. Those bolded black words are the difference from level 2 or the previous level. And you'll see as you go up, there are bolded statements or words or segments that say what they need to be able to do in that level as opposed to what they were doing in the previous level. So it gives students a very, very specific idea of how they're going to be successful. There's really no gray area in there because it's quite clear. Our goal for them is to get them by level 10 by year 4, because level 10 indicators are college and career ready indicators. If they are able to master all of those things within level 10, then we know that they are going to be successful in their post-secondary experiences because they have those foundations that are known to prepare them and to have them be ready for their college and career experiences. Can they get beyond that? Absolutely. Absolutely. Level 12 is going to be that they're doing college level work and they should be in dual and concurrent enrollment courses at that point. So when we look at student performance in that first semester, that's what this pie chart represents. It is only that first semester. We have a portion that represents not on track, and not on track includes students who joined us with existing deficiencies. So if they didn't have all of their credits from their previous experience in whatever school they went to, then they're kind of automatically deficient, and then we have to start from there. You'll see we have not on track, we have performance level and growth is on track. We have performance level and growth is on track, however, they have M's. M's represent missed opportunities to show your evidence of mastery. There's a specific amount of evidence that every student needs to submit for every single competency and every single skill within that competency to show us that they're ready to move on. When they perform at the appropriate level and they have given us the required pieces of evidence, then they're ready to move on. When that happens, we call it a flip. They flip that content portfolio and move on to the next thing. That's how they're able to progress at a faster rate as well. Because if they're showing mastery on those competencies and we have evidence, then they don't need to stand there regardless of the time that they've spent within it. They get to move forward. You'll also see a portion that says not yet started, and not yet started just means that there is not one single rating at all in that content portfolio. They haven't gotten there yet. They haven't worked on it yet, so nothing has been rated. And then we have performance level and growth is too low. That means they're struggling on all fronts. They're struggling with their level of performance, and they're struggling to move beyond that level of performance. Our average performance level in that first semester was a 7.1, which is actually really good because the information shared with me from other competency-based networks was they tend to start 6 or below. So we had a pretty decent starting point considering a goal by the end of year 4 is to be at a 10, which is college and career ready.
Yes, clarification.
Sure.
I apologize. Can you translate that to me to be kind of the more traditional ABCD basically? So not on track, obviously I can understand that. Performance level, growth on track, that's passing. Obviously, within the performance level, growth on track, have missed opportunities. That's not passing.
If you have missed opportunities, no, because you haven't submitted the appropriate amount of evidence that has us truly know that you have mastered that skill.
Okay.
If you are at a performance level, and it depends on the year too. If you're a year 1 student, you can have a performance level of a 7 and be at an 8 because that's the expectation for where you are. These skills always repeat. They never change. So you have 4 years to get better at each skill. The only thing that changes is the content it's delivered in, but not the skill. And so if you are year 1 at a performance level of 7 and you don't have any M's, then you're fine. You're at an A. If you're at year 2, you're at a performance level of 8, you don't have any M's, then that's a B or an A. If you're in year 3, you have a 9, you're at an A because year 4, the goal is for you to be at a 10. Does that make sense?
Am I reading this right on the starting at performance levels and going down to the not yet started and then down to the performance level there? That appears to be the majority of the students that aren't performing to an efficient level.
Which role?
Well,
Are you looking at the
performance?
Pie chart.
Oh, the pie chart?
Performance, the pie chart, yeah.
Yes.
Performance level, growth on track and have M's, that's 23.89%.
Mm-hmm,
Not yet started, that's 13.5%.
mm-hmm.
And then performance level, growth to low. All of those appear to me that they fit in the same position, that those students are not performing up to standard. Is that how?
Well,
that's
not necessarily. The performance level growth on track and have M's, that's very different than performance level and growth too low. So you could have your performance level be where it needs to be and your growth be where it needs to be, but you have not submitted enough evidence. And so we can't accurately say, oh, yes, this student is ready to move on because they didn't meet the threshold that's required for us to be sure that you've mastered that skill because of that. If you are a performance level and growth too low, you're down there. Your performance level is very low and you're not making any growth. And that does not even include having M's.
You know why on the performance levels where it's on track and have M's, you know why they haven't produced that information showing that they have ability moving to the next level?
Yeah, sometimes it's just choice. It's just not taking the opportunity to submit the evidence you need to submit. But they always have an opportunity to bump out the lowest score. That's one very unique thing about our campus. Even if they have M's, there could be an opportunity and they can present this to us. As long as they know what skills we're looking for, these are the skills you're going to be scored on. Can you come up with an alternative piece of evidence that you want to share that maybe is appealing to your interests, your learning style, and where you want to go as far as career choices and options? If you present that to us and it meets the criteria, the continuum, and you got it, then great, that goes in there and it bumps out whatever M is missing. They can always bump out their lowest score to receive the highest performance. And they have an opportunity over and over again to submit that kind of thing.
Would this not be the same in a typical school situation on grading levels? That the student has the opportunity to present the papers that they have to, or in the grading system as far as taking the test? Would that not relate to the same thing that you're talking about here? Being able to move yourself forward by just your efforts?
It's similar, but we don't grade on effort. That is a whole separate area. We grade on your actual mastery of the skill. Effort is work habits. Effort falls also under durable skills. So it's about how you perform on this particular competency and not necessarily the effort. As far as being relatable and similar to other schools, I don't believe you can bump out previous scores to get the highest scores as you continue to move forward.
So if we were to, this is first semester, totally understand this. Let's fast forward to the end of this next semester, the end of the school year.
Mm-hmm.
How does that translate at the end of the school year? Are only the 26.99% of students that are on track, do they get promoted to 11th grade if they're a 10th grader, or 9th and 10th grade if they're a 9th grader?
Well, that's the difference with competency-based learning. If you can't just say you're going to be able to do this within a year, completing competencies generally takes a little longer than a year. That's a standard thing. So what we look at, and that's the difficulty in creating a connection to traditional grades, because it is not necessarily traditional. So what you look at is the individual student, but that's part of the beauty of it being personalized. So we could look at this particular student and say, okay, this student's performance level was on track, their growth is on track, but they have a couple of M's. Let's talk about the reasons behind that and how many opportunities we gave them to submit more evidence in order to bump out those M's. And if it's something that was a learning curve for an adult, because this is all new for everyone, then you say, okay, we're not going to require you to submit 3 pieces of evidence. You've submitted 2. We don't feel like there was ample opportunity for you to work in another piece of evidence related and connected to this skill or this competency. And so we're going to go with the performance that we have. So what you see is at your actual performance level.
See, and the reason I asked that question is I understand the progression. English is it continues. But you go from algebra, you go to geometry. Then you go ultimately to pre-calculus, depending on how far earth, biology, chemistry. So how does that translate from a promotional standpoint to those different courses?
Because competency and math is always slightly different. There's a little bit of a different setup because it is math. But when it comes to competencies, they're transdisciplinary. So it's things that are not just held within that one content area. These are skills that you can use across different contents in different disciplines. So it's not one of those things where, you need to create, you can only create a model of algebraic model of this format just in this math class. If they're doing something in science and it's connected because they do connect concepts and that is seen in science, then they get that check off. Like, okay, they've mastered this, let's move on. And that's the nice part too about having the team work together and have those conversations with each other, because they can just talk about when they see different things like that. But again, math is just slightly different. It's not going to follow. And that was one of the discussions that we actually had at the start of the year, because it's different in the way that it's delivered. And so we were like, are we pulling out the primary standards, those most important, standards that we need to look at, and then applying those math competencies to these things? How is this going to look? So that was a discussion that was had. And as we take a look at outcomes and where our students perform and where we feel we did just as a staff in creating these opportunities, then we make adjustments. And so the goal is to innovate, improve, and scale.
Mr. I could real quick. It's 6 o'clock. You go to the class to start at 6:05. If we're going to start the board meeting at 6:30, maybe 25 minutes. They came all the way down. So either Crystal has 3 more slides that she needs to do. We can bring her back to follow up questions, or we can extend the time out. But I want to be mindful of the group that's here, and mindful we do have a meeting that's starting at 6:30.
Yeah, it's only about 3 of that, so, do you think could we take 3 minutes to go to the next slides, or do we just want to?
No, we can, the next slide is just a different representation of the same information we just got. So this is just a breakdown of the grade level and the competency area for that grade level and the count of students in that zone. It's the same, just in table form. Interventions, these are all of the ways that we support our students in moving forward, in being able to show us that they're ready. And there's just multiple things that we do that's built into the format of the school generally. They have multiple opportunities for evidence submission, so it's never just a one and done. It's always, okay, let's try this again. Let's go back and do a revision cycle of the same thing, or give you another opportunity that looks just slightly different. They have one-to-one support, extended time, progress conferencing. Those get pretty deep because we go very deep in every student's personalized learning portfolio, and it contains all of their progress, behavior information, their goals, their mindset, all of those things. They get specific breakdowns of performance deficits, so students can identify what indicators are needed to effectively demonstrate competency. They get more time on the feedback, support to increase those revision cycles that we do with them, identification of specific skills, growth and agency support, and the skills never change. So students are continuously exposed as a built-in intervention. Performance levels are expected to increase over time, but it's on the same skills. So it's a continuum of performance. Wins at a lot of things, honestly. It's been a really, really good year the year hasn't even ended, but it's been a really great year to see how much growth you can have in attitudes, in relationships, in just dispositions, and how students are able to shift their way of thinking, especially when they know that they have more opportunity for success, where the letter grade that they got at the end of semester 1 is not the letter grade that they keep if they perform better. They actually have a chance to knock that out and show that they did what they needed to do and they mastered the competency. We had a lot of PD support this year, and the staff has been great with having those conversations, using data, because we have a ton of data. I can share a ton of data with you. staff and students' growth with the way that they communicate with each other. Again, metrics access, that was part of the data. Student showcase, we did our very first student showcases and finals at the end of the last semester, and it was a 30-year gala. Students came in and presented as if they were that person they wanted to be in 30 years, and it was fantastic. Lots of community guest visits, reaching out to students with our students. That has been nice to see their buy-in and what they believe in and how they feel about their school. That's the most important thing, is that they feel like they can be successful. They feel like they have choices, and they feel like this relates to the reality that they live in. And then we have had long-term substitutes, but they have been so bought in, they actually want to stay permanently, but I can't do that. But because they're so bought in and they understand what we're doing, and it's pretty intense, you have to really be a part of it to understand what's happening. They have some true buy-in for what we're doing. Okay. And I am going to end there. And that was questions time that we got. Thank you.
So again, I would suggest we probably, there's probably some continued conversation we need to have for the scheduling visit schools, operations now, or bring back to the April. But we have a counseling department, counseling services we provide, we can maybe. All right, next one, we have from opportunity three. Sorry. All right, have them introduce themselves.
Yeah, they would probably do a better job of it, but my realtor association had the pleasure of, we do a golf tournament every year, and it benefits the opportunity tree. This is the second year that the proceeds have gone to their organization. I've had the pleasure of touring the organization a couple times now, meeting their members. It's just a really great organization, and it's a transitional step with some of our students here to the real life. So I wanted them to kind of share their organization.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kelly Russell, I'm the CEO of Hamilton Petrie. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. We love to talk about ourselves. So we are actually a nonprofit organization. They've celebrated our 60th year this year. We were established in 1963. We have 4 campuses: Phoenix, Maricopa, Arizona, and Casa Grande. Our Casa Grande location is actually our second largest location, and we've been in Casa Grande since the 1970s. So you may have heard of us as Arizona Foundation for the Handicap. We came from a couple years ago, or you may know of us as the Freedom Fighters, because we are right down downtown Casa Grande, right by the railroad track. And in the 1990s, we made furniture. We had federal contract, and we made furniture, and we put it on the railways, and it was shipped all over the country. So that's how our Casa Grande site actually got started, and we're still here, 50 years later. So again, we've been serving for 63 years, since 1963. We have over 250 members, about 100 are in Casa Grande, so we have about upwards of 70 people that come to our site here every day in Casa Grande, but we also have 5 community group homes that we serve individuals with. And in some of those group homes, some of those individuals came right out of the institution in Collegiate and are living with us today. We serve 2 counties, Maricopa, Canal. So some of the things that we are very passionate about is employment first. And we are partnering with Dr. Hendricks in the Casa Grande School District because it's very important for those transition students, as Kelly said, to get those services as they're starting to transition out of high school. Anytime from 14 to 22. So we take them into our youth program, introduce them to things that we're doing in our programs. We do pre-ES with the high schools, which is pre-employment transition services, where we do workshops with them, ask them what they want to do the rest of their lives, which I know might come as a shock to you, but kids with IED don't want to get asked what they want to do or where they want to work the rest of their life, right? And so we're very passionate about that, asking that at an early age. We know the outcomes then are much better for that student is if we connect with them earlier. We have a supported aging program, which I'm most passionate about. So if you have Down syndrome, you are probably 100% likely to get dementia at the age. And what we're seeing in this country is people with Down syndrome are living longer because of all the medical interventions that we have, and so they're showing signs of dementia. So what happens then is the people that are taking care of supporting these people realize that they have dementia, but they don't have the skills to properly give them the quality of life they need, right? And again, medical professionals will take our guys to the doctor and they'll go, oh, it's IBD, it's not dementia, right? But we know it is. So a couple years ago, we partnered with Hospice of the Valley because they have a very robust dementia program. And Dr. Joe was very adamant about engaging a provider that's provided support to people with IBD because there's no other program in the country that does this. So we're pioneering this at our campus in Kings, and we also have a small cohort down here in Casa Grande where our aging person comes down twice a week in the program with them. We partner with the Art Mobile, you guys are the Art Mobile, and we do creative art with these people as well. She's trained in that as well. Neil's way more passionate.
No, that's exactly right. So you see all the data and all the impact that we run statewide on the screen. What does that actually mean? So since 1963, 2023 is when we celebrate our 60th anniversary, 50 years of it in Casa Grande. Basically what that means for us is working alongside people with disabilities to integrate in the community, develop independent life skills, and really be a part of everyday life just like the rest of us are. And we're really intentional about not only for our members, but with people with disabilities to enrich the fabric of our society. That's what that looks like behind Seeds Employment Services, Leaf Adult Day programs, our Tree Forward youth programs, our community living services, our Special Olympic sports, and the supported aging program. So what's very unique about us is we start services as young as 14 years old. So we've got young learners coming off the bus after school, throwing the backpacks in the corner, playing video games, hitting out in the community, just like a typical Boys and Girls Club YMCA, but for our guys, all the way through to, as Kelly mentioned, some of our supported aging people who truly are like the living history of the opportunity. We have people that came out of the institutions when back in 1963 it became illegal. Our people in funny farms, in institutions, came out in the community, integrated into society. What does that look like? We're proud to say we were one of the first agencies on the scene helping that bigger social transition take place. So we've got folks in their 70s, in their 80s, and then we got the after school program kids coming off the bus. We have folks in their early 20s, we got people in their 30s, we got people in their 40s, 50s. Every stage of life coming to us either for Seeds Employment Services, the day program, special ones, any kind of service and or program that you can think of that helps people with disabilities integrate into their community on their own terms. Casa Grande, Maricopa, Phoenix, Avondale. And employment first, right? So what does that mean? That means a member can come to us either through the DDD channels, the Division of Developmental Disabilities, which is our primary funder, which is a subset of DDS, Department of Homeland Security, and or through vocational rehab, which is also another program under DDS. So a person with a disability comes to us, Ms. Kelly, I'd like to get a job, please. Cool. What does that mean? Sit, talk, explore, interest, develop, everything we talk about in the PACE programs, for example. Then let's go out into the world and go find a job. Interviews, managers, store tours, talking with employees, et cetera, et cetera. Then the interview. Then hopefully we get a job, and then our seed staff are on site with other people day in, day out, working that job for hopefully the end of time or however long it lasts until we're on to the next thing. So we realize that some people are too young to start working and they're coming off the bus at 14, 15. Some of our folks might be retired, 60, 70, 80. Some of our folks might not quite be ready to work yet. And some of our folks maybe can't quite work yet or aren't there yet, whatever the situation is. So whatever point of entry someone comes into our programs, employment first hopefully steers us and that person towards some sort of gainful employment at some stage of the game. That's not right now, that's cool. We put our waters into it or put our toes into the water and then we have to pull back, that's cool too. But all along, we're slowly and steadily moving towards gainful employment, hopefully for everyone of our members.
I like to add.
Yes, please.
So employment first is a philosophy.
Right.
But that's the expected outcome that everyone's offered employment, even the severely disabled are offered employment. So that's what we believe. couple years ago, I don't know if you guys are familiar with 14C certificate, we held one, that was our workshop down in Casa Grande, we could pay people sub minimum wage. We had one workshop up in Phoenix, we had one in Casa Grande, so when we adopted the employment first philosophy, we said, no, we're not renewing our certificate. We want everyone to make a fair wage, everyone needs to make minimum wage. So September of this year, we closed our workshops. We did renew our certificate, and we really embraced the employment first philosophy, getting people jobs in the community. So what does that mean? That means we need the community, right? We need the employers. We need people to partner with us to get these guys jobs.
And we realize too, that's a slow process because for anybody that's familiar with center-based employment, everything that was just described, that meant a lot of people with severe disabilities or who were wheelchair users or who maybe had trouble accessing community-based jobs were working in warehouses for 20, 30, 40 years. And that became the model. There's still agencies today that do that. There's philosophical, inherently things not cool with that, things that are cool with that. But the bigger point is that the direction we've gone slows things down as far as like the number of members that are gainfully employed, but the impact for each individual is that much deeper and that much more long-term and that much more hopefully permanent for that person working a job in the community and not coming to the opportunity to use Casa Grande campus to sit in the workshop 8 hours a day, making 30 cents a bag. So, you know, there's transition that comes with that, and there's folks that are feeling different ways about it, but in the long run, it's been a positive impact so far, and like sky's the limit. The runway is long, so to speak, for our CG program. So we're really excited about it. Tree Ford is where it all begins, 14 and up. We're going to touch on our relationship with the district here in just a moment, but Dr. Hendricks has been absolutely fantastic to connect us with Vista and Union. And when we look on our history of 50 years, pretty much all of our members, if they came through a public institution, came from Vista and Union. So we are embedded in the community that way. And then our partnership over the last few years with Dr. Hendricks has been tremendous. She's busy exposing families and members and students to the programs and services that we can offer. We're busy opening the doors to the campus and to our homes to get day of the Tree Ford tours, the special ed classes to come to our campus, run a bunch of activities, learn how to get a job in our tech lab, run some special Olympic sports, do all that so that we can say to parents, hey, you don't have to wait until you graduate. You don't have to wait until April, a month before your son and daughter's going to graduate. Go to Ms. Hendricks, freak out and say, hey, where should I send my son or daughter? I don't know what idea what to do next. So let's get them integrated now, get them coming off the bus once a week, twice a week, whatever it is. And then once they graduate, they're already home. We're already a step ahead for the CE program. We're already a step ahead for all of our other services. So that's where it all really starts. And that's where we see the breadth of service really, you know, go deep into the impact. For adults who either aren't ready to work yet in our CE program and or just fresh out of high school, whatever the case may be, our Leaf Day program is just full of community integration. We're out all the time. We're hitting community events. We're shadowing jobs. We're going to Special Olympics. Our agency does a really good job of interagency collaboration. So once a month, twice a month. The Casa Grande crew is going to Maricopa. The Maricopa crew is going to Avondale. The Avondale crew is coming to Phoenix. Phoenix is coming down to CG. And we really mix it up that way so that all our 250 members really get a chance to like soak it in and realize what the opportunity is about on a big scale. Community living, this is our residential service. This is where it all started at all. So again, history. We were one of the first on the scene providing community integrated living opportunities for folks coming out of institutions. Well, that started here 50 years ago and it still remains the same today. We got 5 homes here in CG where we're ready to invest in more. We're checking out the Rocks group for sure. And so that is really the staple. Where do we all go? We all go home, right? So if you're coming to our day program, or you're part of Fire Slammers, which we're about to talk about in a minute, or you're in the Seeds program, you got to come home at some point. So the community living is the underpinning of it all, because our folks live with us too, and that's a really important point. Again, pointing to the depth and the breadth. So when we work with Dr. Hendricks' crew, for example, kids coming off the bus 16, 17 in the Tree Ford program, graduated into seasoned employment, mom, dad at some point is going to be older, moving on, maybe life circumstances change. So we really emphasize the point too that we have a home for you at that time as well. Supported aging we touched on, that has just been a very, very impactful program on its own merits. This is what our CEO is most passionate about by far. We are the Mighty Fire Slammers. So Special Olympics, in a nutshell, raise your hand if you've heard of Special Olympics. I'm sure everyone has. By itself, its own energy is awesome. Sports for people with disabilities, etc. But in the grand scheme of things, Special O is like a world worldwide organization. So every time we go to a tournament or a practice, whatever it is, our members, people with disabilities, get to be a part of something that's larger than themselves. For all of us in this room, when we're a part of something that's larger than ourselves, there's a sense of fulfillment that we all experience. Well, that's what happens at a Special Olympics sport. So when you get a chance, we run 8 sports a year. Agency-wide, we have over 80 athletes that descend on state tournaments, area tournaments, with our mascot, the fire slammer, the flags, the megaphones, the whole thing, and just go for gold. It's a cool thing to see. So this Friday, actually, in Mesa, is the state basketball tournament. We got teams from Tucson and Flagstaff and all over the world. We give the Tornadoes a run for their money, the Casa Grande Tornadoes, if you're heard of them. So if you get a chance, check it out online and come see us in Mesa. So this is where it all comes together here in CG. We've been here for 50 years. We partnered with Casa Grande Union and Vista, knowing that our kids come up through the school system just like anybody else. And so our connection and our partnership with the district, with Dr. Hendricks, and all of the educators and all of the teachers is huge. We've already run 3 campus tours so far this year, right, Dr. Hendricks? For classes and students of all, from both schools. We're trying to get some more on the books for April, with the understanding that parents, students come, all this stuff is free. If you have DVD services, you can come after school twice a week, every day. You can come to our LEAF program. You can do season employment. You can live with us. All of it's paid for by DVD services. And our shared struggle is just helping parents understand that your kid's going to be 30 one day. He's going to be 42 one day. And so, yes, they're precious now. We're in school. I can go to Dr. Hendricks for whatever I need. But let's start getting DVD services now. Let's start getting connected with us now, because we're living here from out of town. And so when that day comes, May 5th, and school's done, you don't have to freak out and go see Dr. Hendricks. That's what am I going to do with my life here? Because you're on. So that's really what we press upon these tours and these exposures.
So if I could just add to that, so when we started our youth program about 5 years ago, it became pretty clear that parents had no idea how to handle what to do.
Right.
It was like, they didn't know, no fault of theirs, no fault of theirs. So part of our community then was, even if you don't come to us for services, we want to sit down with you, we want to help you, we want you to get eligible for DD, we want you to find a provider that you're comfortable with. So we did that, just as a community service, right? So we don't get paid for doing that, we write grants for it, but it doesn't matter much. But anyway, we knew that this was a need, right? Because if you're a parent of someone with special needs, and you have this room of services and you're in school, right? And then boom, 14, 22, whenever the school graduates, you're done, and the bus stops coming in, right? And so we wanted to be there to walk parents through this, like what's out there for you, what do you need to do, what can we do to help you? So that's why our relationship with the school districts are so important, is that we can help parents do that as their kids transition out.
And we're really excited to feather in the cap of everybody here. Starting at the end of this month, we're launching our first official pre-employment transition services on campus with 10 ESS students, where we're going to go through 5 workshops, everything from career exploration to job shadowing to out in the community, etc. So we're really excited about that. We want to keep that growing because it's just another service. Again, it doesn't cost anybody any money in this room that allows students, kiddos, to get employment services and really feel it and touch it and wrap their minds around it before they even leave the school hall. So we're super excited about that. Thank you, Dr. Hendricks, for your that. Real quick, just a little breadth of history. Then, 1963, 1970, you see on the top right, that's the Casa Grande Rehabilitation Center. That's our roots right there. That's the 209 West First Street, downtown CG. That's where it all started, where we had the big, crazy machines doing the federal furniture. Quick story. When we were going for our 60th anniversary, which we had in October, we had a big event. And we're combing through the files, and we grabbed old VHSs and ribbons and like the old videotapes that you find in your garage. We exposed a whole bunch of it, and we find pictures of like people with Down syndrome, people with autism at our center in 1974 with huge drills and big saws and just giving a thumbs up with no gloves and not like, oh, should we have a fit? You know, this is 50 years ago, we're going, holy cow, this is our history in CG. So to see it evolve from then until now, a lot of these members are still with us today. And in the top left is in the 1950s, you can see the guy's camera in his big pants before our Phoenix campus was built. It's known as the Perry Institute for Brain Damaged Children, and that nomenclature at the time was, of course, accepted. So we're proud to say 61 years later, both centers serve the exact same purpose that they were at their creation 56 years ago. So we're taking another 60 plus, we're going all the way. That's now. Supported aging, youth program, get-togethers, Special Olympics, fresh, new, energy, color, band, just community impact. We're passionate about helping our folks integrate in society just like anybody else. And then we'll spare Raleigh's story because that's another one, but if we have more time, we'll come back and tell you about that one again. Cool? Any questions? Come find us, theopportunitytree.org. Just show up 209 West First Street. Kelly can get you in touch with us. We'll do a tour. We'll have you mix it up with the guys, the members. We brought some documents at the time. But we're going to leave you with our program flyers, volunteer experiences. If you guys want to get your crews organized and doing some social good, the whole rest, you'll have it. Just hit us up. You know where to find us. Come by anytime.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Go get him, son.
First of all, thank you for coming down tonight and sharing your amazing story and vision for how you're supporting our community. Dr. Hendricks, thank you for partnering with them to provide these students with great opportunities and plan moving forward. So appreciate all of your hard work.
One more story I can say. Feathering the cap for CG. I'm sorry, I know. So, Kelly mentioned it. We started our youth program 5 years ago. And we're proud to say that our first member who's gone through 3/4 of the complete life cycle program, started in the tree fort, moved into our lead program, moved into one of our homes, and now is hopefully jumping into seed soon. In Stevens State Podcast Grant. First life cycle for the opportunity to come.
That's all we have. So we have about 5 minutes before 6:30. So.
I will stand adjourned until. for being here, taking time out of your family time to be here, to hear us kind of discuss your business. Mary, will you please call the roll?
Here.
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 All right, now it's time for the pledge. If you will all please stand and join us for the pledge and then remain standing for a moment of contemplation and reflection. Mr. Hayes?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. First order of business is the adoption of the agenda. Is there any question or anyone have any comments about the agenda? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Mary, call the roll, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Minutes from prior meetings. Does anyone have any discussion related to the meetings? Minutes for the meeting? With that, I'll entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Just the first and the second. Mary?
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, moving into recognitions, student recognitions. Mr. Rowe.
Good evening, President Wilkie and board members. This time I'd like to introduce our Reading Middle Chapter and High School Assistant Principal, Ms. John Reyes, who will be recognized in our early meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Lavender, board members. Kaylee, would you come up and join me, please? Ms. Kaylee Tracy is being recognized this evening as Casa Grande Union High School's March Rotary Student of the Month. Kaylee's grade point average exceeds 4.5 on a 4.0 scale, and she exceeds the required academic credits. She's exceptionally proud of her learning experiences and is truly appreciative of the challenges she has faced in academia. Come on up here. Teachers that have been supportive and inspiring to Kaylee are Ms. Plagencool, Mrs. Hawkins, and many more. Kaylee plays 5 instruments: guitar, ukulele, violin, cello, and piano, and loves to perform, sing, and participate in theater. She has been in 13 theater productions, and she is a magnificent actress, I know personally. She plans on attending the University of Arizona, majoring in biochemistry, leading to her becoming a pediatrician. Please practice the Casa Grande. Family members that have and continue to support Kaylee are her dad, Scott Tracy, her mom, Veronica Tracy. Kaylee's mom continues to inspire her through her commitments in the medical field. A message from Kaylee's teacher, Mr. Crick. No, that's not it. Like I said, she loves music. It was planned. He is her AP Human Geography and AP US Government and Politics teacher. Kaylee is one of the school's top students. She excels in her classwork by being detail-oriented and thorough in any work that she submits. She is a great writer and speaker and offers informed perspectives whenever the opportunity arises. She is driven to succeed, and I have no doubt that she will achieve great things in the future. Finally, she is an accomplished musician and singer, and if you have a chance to see and hear her perform, you should not miss it. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Kaylee Tracy.
Ay, tata, mira.
This time I'd like to introduce our Vista Grande principal, Mr. Van Stanzi, who will recognize our Vista Grande student of the month.
Good evening, President Wilkie, board members, Superintendent Lavender. May I have Mr. David Barnett come up? David is our March Rotary Student of the Month. Before I get into what I'm going to read about him, David doesn't know this, but oftentimes when I show up at work, students are sitting around, hanging out. David always has a willing smile. So one of the things I tell students, non-announcer of the PA system, smile at those that need it, smile at those who don't, and smile at those who don't even like you sometimes. David smiled right in the room, and he's one of the reasons why I get up and get to work. And he also likes to eat donuts on Fridays. David Barnett, son of Melanie and James Boone, is Vista Grande's March Rotary Student of the Month. David has found himself not only excelling in the classroom, but also making a mark within the Vista Grande community. Along with holding a 4.05 GPA, David has pushed himself to get involved in clubs like the National Junior Honor Society, Impact, AP Club, and the Mariachi Band. Aside from David's accomplishments, David's character speaks volumes. David proves to be a selfless individual as he regularly attends and participates in blood donations. After graduation, David aspires to become a historical musician and an accomplished scholar. In his leisure time, he plans to learn how to garden. Pretty hard in Arizona, and support his family and friends. We are proud of David and take pride in having him as our Rotary Student of the Month.
Sweet. Yeah.
Next is Mrs. Lisa Miller, our CTE director, who will recognize our marketing student of the month for both schools.
What is sweet.
Good evening, President Wilkie, board members, Superintendent Lavender, and the public that's able to join us tonight. So I always say this is one of my favorite parts of this job, and I have to confess that one of my really favorite parts of the job is when I get to present marketing students with their awards, because I am the former marketing teacher from Vista, so it's always a little extra special when I see their names come up. Tonight, I'm going to start with Union, though, because we have Calagio Franco here with his father and his grandmother, so come on up. His parents are Alexis Bustamante and Carlos Rios Franco. And he has some wonderful words here from Mr. Carter, his teacher. Calagio is a 4-year member of the CGUHS Marketing and DECA organization. He has participated in practically all levels of our program, including attending DECA conferences on a district, state, and regional level. Calagio has also earned top grades in every marketing class that he has been in. This year, he is a marketing intern. He manages our school-based enterprise, the DECA store, during his internship class. He successfully trains and supervises his staff, as well as completes all accounting responsibilities. He can single-handedly manage the store on his own. Colagio is well deserving of this award. It has been an honor and privilege to have him in the program. I am extremely proud of him. And congratulations to you. And I just received a text message just before I walked up here that our next recipient is unable to attend this evening. So otherwise we would have had a slideshow and all that, but I'm going to go ahead and read what Mrs. Hunter had to say about Paul Sanchez. He is the Student of the Month for Marketing at Vista, and his parents are Guadalupe Diaz and Paul Sanchez. And he is a former student of mine, and I believe this is his second time receiving this award. Could possibly be the third time. I'll verify with him, but very familiar with Paul and what he's done. So he is a bright and conscientious young man. He has shown high academic achievement and citizenship in all areas of school. He not only rises to the challenges confronting him, but he does so with enthusiasm, a sense of duty, and an unwillingness to be satisfied with anything less than the best from himself. Paul shows his leadership skills through his many DECA offices held, conferences attended, competition awards received, and his leadership activities. He is currently the Vista Grande DECA president, and he has been invaluable to the Vista Grande DECA organization. Paul leads and motivates others, but with a great sense of caring. It is this combination of balance and boundless effort that makes it easy for me to see nothing but a bright and successful future for this impressive student. He's the only student that can work the slushie machine. And I'm going to rephrase that. It's not a slushie machine. It's a frosty fruit machine. And I know this because Paul and I worked very hard together to make sure we got the right machine and the right product the year that he was my student. Anyway, thank you, Paul, for being part of the VG DECA and the marketing program. And I will make sure that he gets his spot in the classroom. So, thanks.
Thank you, Mrs. Miller. This time I'm going to ask our March student of the month, employee of the month, Martine Lopez, please join me up here. I'm also going to ask. Martine is our federal grants coordinator. And as you know, Tina is our director of federal grants. And so this is what she wrote about Martine. It says, I'm proud to nominate Martine Lopez for Employee of the Month. I feel Martine is way overdue and so deserving Employee of the Month. On the first day I met Martine, he has been the definition of a gentleman, gallant, courteous, honorable man. His dedication for his school district and the community are evident in the years he's given to his work, and the Vista Grande wrestlers. He's also their head wrestling coach, and driving them to high personal achievements each year. Martine is 100% for the students and their accomplishments as well as trying times. In their accomplishments as well as during their trying times. During the last several months, Martine has remained a gentleman and handled the death of a former wrestler in a recent student medical emergency with professionalism and care. He will never raise his voice to a student, parent, staff member, or vendors. He has an infectious smile and a genuine love for his family and friends. I was actually present when Martine told the wrestling team about the death of Alan, one of their former wrestlers this year, and he did it with such care. We were so proud of him. It's what we would expect from all of our staff members to show the empathy to these students and understanding. For these reasons and many more, he's an outstanding role model in our community and very deserving of this award. Thank you, Martine. Tina, is there anything else you would like to add?
No, I'll just have tears. So I'm just grateful for my team and that he joined me. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. So Martine's beautiful family is here tonight, and I'll ask him to introduce his family to all of us.
This is my wife Marina, my daughter Mara, my parents, my younger brother Rafael, and my nephew Caleb.
And I'm very proud of my son. I was sitting through. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Should I be aware of the oops? Okay. So next we have a very special award tonight. We have Krista Anderson from Cognia. This year, Casa Grande Union High School achieved a milestone of 100 years of accreditation. So we tried hard to find somebody from the original class from 100 years ago. We almost were successful, but certainly when we talk about longevity and Cougar, there wouldn't be anybody better to represent that school tonight than Mrs. Donatea. So I'm going to ask Donna to please come forward, as well as Krista, who will present the recognition to Mrs. Taya. So Krista, thank you for coming tonight.
Well, good evening. Thank you so very much for allowing me to be here today to recognize this wonderful milestone award. As you said, I am Dr. Krista Anderson. I've been a part of public education for over 30 years in Arizona. I joined 2.5 years ago, and I had the honor of working with Chris Lineberry as well as Natalie Clement in a previous district. And so unfortunately, they couldn't be here this evening, but we'll definitely celebrate your school. I'm here today to recognize 100 years of commitment to improving learning opportunities for students in Casa Grande Unified Union High School District. They opened their doors in 1920 and began its accreditation journey in 1924. This school has grown and evolved over the past 100 years, but its commitment to its students and community stayed strong, as demonstrated by multiple recognitions for your academics, for athletics, as well as the diverse programming, such as FFA, DECA, culinary, USMC, JROTC, and state championship marching band. Casa Grande Union High School truly exemplifies continuous improvement through all levels of its work. At Cognia, we measure schools through the lens of 4 key characteristics. The 4 key characteristics are evident when schools and districts effectively and productively tend to the performance standards. First, you should witness an environment in which the culture is focused on the challenges, joys, and opportunities for learning. Second, you should witness leadership focused on dedicated and committed to the learning of students. Third, you should witness learners engaged productively in the learning experience. And lastly, you should have evidence that learners are growing and learning in programs and in curricula provided by that institution. Casa Grande Union High School does all of that in abundance. In fact, the district's vision captures the nature of the community, all living in the pursuit of excellence for a lifetime achievement. Congratulations, Casa Grande Union High School, on 100 years of school accreditation. Go Cougars! And how many years have you been a part of Casa Grande?
Well, since 1973.
So you really do have some representation, and very proud of your school and the work that you're doing. And we accredit all of your schools, and so we're hoping to come back and get to continue to have these milestone recognitions. So congratulations, and go Cougars!
Thank you. Congratulations.
Yes.
Come on.
Mary?
All right.
Every time. They still have to be from here.
Come on, Tina.
Hey. Still more.
Hold the sign.
Russ, like, I am going up there. That's where we're starting.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you. And go Cougars. All right, at this time, I think we're going to take a pause and allow anybody who, the recipients to leave if they need to get back to their family time. So thank you very much for coming tonight, and congratulations, and thank you for all that you do for the school and for being such outstanding students. Thank you.
And can we get one more pictures of the students and our team, all those employees, students and.
Or
Yeah.
it doesn't make
In
it
the
back to work
hallway
right
of
away.
the office.
Eventually.
Yeah, I didn't say it won't ever get there.
I'll make it. Thank you, Krista. I really appreciate your time coming here and do this. And I will see you in virtual land on Thursday.
I will make sure Chris gets this to him. But in the meantime, it is going to get my
Tomorrow-ish. Tomorrow-ish.
No, I'll be up there tomorrow. I gotta change things up. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
I am going to.
Love and blessings and prayers and wishes.
Especially prayers.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Do you need anything from me, Krista? I'll see you Thursday.
Spring break coming up.
I think one more out. Before it's be upgraded later.
You can leave me if you want.
See you, Donna.
Thank you very much. Great. All right, we'll move into superintendent's report, Mr. Lavender.
Thank you, President Wilkie. Just a few things I wanted to cover with you tonight. On Leap Day, which was last Thursday, February 29th, we had our annual band gala organized by our Mrs. Randy and Randy Union Band Director. We had over 600 students participate this year from 13 schools here in the Casa Grande community. So it was a wonderful evening. It was perfect weather this year after really cold last year. So appreciate our music departments for putting those on. Also, it is indoor percussion ensemble season. Casa Grande Union is a serious contender this year for another state championship on February 17th. They got first prize at our first place at the Ironwood Bridge competition last weekend on March 2nd. They got second place, finishing less than 1 point behind the defending state champion from last year. And over spring break, our team will be traveling to California to compete. Can't remember the exact date, but Pace recently had an open mic evening that was started at 5:30. I figured they would be done about 7 o'clock. And the evening went to 9:30. And that's how many students, community members showed up that night and wanted to share their talents in singing, rap, poetry. Can't remember if there was any others. Tommy, who's back here, did a wonderful job organizing the event that night. Roberto Rivera, who was in town that week. And so we're looking at this becoming a monthly activity. So we're really excited about that. Also recently at Mr. Grande High School, Mr. Armasolo was recognized for his honors physics class They were looking at crash-worthy car designs. So the students all designed paper cars with 3 safety dimensions, and they tested their safety dimensions with eggs. And so the object was for the car to crash and the eggs not to break. And so really hands-on, good learning activities, student meeting activities there in the physics class. We're also started our sports season recently with our baseball, softball, and track season. So I encourage you to get out and watch our teams compete. This past weekend, the Union DECA Club competed at the Arizona State Conference. Carlene Jacobson, I hope I pronounced that right, was elected as a state officer for next year. And then Drake Maestas got first place in the business growth plan. So we're real proud of both of them. Just some upcoming events for all of you to be aware of. State testing is coming up. Students will be testing over 3 days, and information will be going home to parents and some communication hopefully tomorrow. It's really unique in how we're going to do testing this year. When you have state testing, your campus really, we want it to be limited movement as wide as possible, so it's difficult to have the other students on campus. So this year, we're only bringing the students on campus who are testing that day, and the students that are not testing have been approved to do asynchronous distance learning that day from home. So they'll log in and they will do their assignments at home. So on March 26th, which is the second day back from spring break, our 11th graders will be doing the science test that day. And then on which is a Tuesday the following week, our 11th graders will do the ACT test, and our 9th graders will do the ACT Aspire test. And then on April 3rd, our 9th graders will do the ACT Aspire test. For those families, staying home creates some kind of hardship, whether it's supervision, getting to school for after school or school activities, food service needs, or internet needs. We will have learning labs open that day for families that need to send the students in and have them in a structured environment that day if distance learning does not work from home. What we're asking families to do, we'll be giving them a link. They can log into it, putting that information down. We will be sending that information home hopefully tomorrow.
Yes.
Thank you. In both English and Spanish, or Spanish families or Spanish-speaking families are clearly aware that if they have a sophomore or a senior, their students will be home for 3 days doing distance learning. If they have a junior or freshman, they'll be home for 1 day during distance learning. Next month, when we have our board meeting, we'll be going to our new designated board meeting date, which is the second Monday of the month, which will be on Monday, April 8th. Also on this Thursday from 9 to 11, Vista will be having a STEAM fair, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. And it'll be outside on their campus from 9 to 11 on Thursday. Also, Union on Thursday is doing the community interviews, where community members are asked to go in and give seniors short 7 to 10 minute interviews and give them feedback. There's an 8:30 to 11:30 shift, and then a 12 to 3 o'clock shift. I'll be doing the 12 to 3 o'clock shift, but I'm also looking forward to going to the STEAM fair Thursday morning. When you came in tonight, I'm sure you could not miss the poster out front for Dancing to the Stars. Jennifer has been working hard. She actually was injured.
Yes.
Preparing for herself, preparing for her dance routine on March 23rd. March 23rd, this is a Saturday night at Harris. Also participating that night is Casa Grande Elementary School Board member Mike Cruz. So he's been challenging Jennifer with some friendly competitions as well. And so I think it's going to be an exciting night. If you don't have tickets, you can watch it online. But I know Jennifer wants all of you to vote for her, so she can raise as much money as possible for the Boys and Girls Club. Next week, our staff is getting a well-deserved spring break for the next 2 weeks. Spring break starts on Saturday, March 9th, runs through March 24th. Again, all of our staff are working so hard. And we're thrilled that we're really going to be able to give them some time off to rest, recharge their batteries, and more importantly, to spend time with their families and loved ones. And we certainly thank all of our staff for that. And my final announcement, I'm going to ask Mr. Boots Hawks to please stand up. Today, our county school superintendent announced the appointment of Boots Hawks to our governing board to replace Chuck Wright. We will be swearing him in on Monday, March 25th at 5 p.m. We do have an executive session that night to deal with some student disciplinary actions, but we'll start in here. We'll have the swearing in from Mr. Hawks so he can take his place on the board for that hearings that night as well, be able to participate on April 8th. We all owe a debt of gratitude to Mr. Hawks for all of his hard work on the override election and helping us assure that the election was successful and secured about $20 million in funding for our district over the next 8 years. So Boots, we thank you for your efforts there. We thank you for doing the video that has been seen by 40,000 people. We're looking forward to serving with you on the board. And so, because you're not a board member yet, I can't let you speak unless you want to come up for the 3 minutes for the call.
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And that's my report.
That brings us to the call of the public. Read the disclaimer.
Request to speak to the governing board pursuant to ARS 38-431.02.h. The board may make an open call to the public during a public meeting, subject to reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions to allow individuals to address the public body on any issue within the jurisdiction of the public body. At the conclusion of an open call to the public, individual board members may respond to criticism made by those who have addressed the board, may ask staff to review a matter, or may ask that a matter be put on a future board agenda. However, members of the board shall not discuss or take legal action on matters raised during an open call to the public unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. During an open call, the board requests that speakers refrain from voicing complaints against school personnel or any person connected with the district as it may impact due process rights. Policies KE, KEB, and KED are provided by the board for disposition of legitimate complaints, including those involving individuals.
Thank you very much. We have 3 comment cards tonight. We'll start off with Yvonne Sutton.
Hi, board and teachers and parents and audience. I would just like to do a summary of the few things that I learned from talking to parents, teachers, and few former and current staff. Okay, on the student side, the percentage of students doing drugs is 60 to 70%, according to 3 Vista senior girls. And 2 Union boys believe boys doing drugs are at 70%. So if we use this to estimate, Union has 2,000 students, Vista Grande has the 1640, and we have a total about 2,548 students addicted. And they use vape pen, which is a combo of vape and weed. Some do it in locker room and even in class. Teacher may be busy and they blow the smoke into the vent. A former school facilities manager on the reservation believes that drug dealing exists in elementary, middle school, and high schools. And there are fights all the time in schools, according to both Union and Vista parents and students. And district facility manager with law enforcement background and said that there's daily student destructive behavior causes damage to school facilities. And 99% of the troublemakers cannot be identified or tracked. and district has to absorb the expense. District level reading proficiency is 21% and math proficiency is 14%. This is from US News, which I emailed in September, late September last year. Okay, on the teacher's side, a Union sophomore honor said that 80% of his teachers teach. A Union junior honor student said that 19% of his students teach. And non-AP teachers don't teach. And this is a comment from nearly all the parents and most of the students. And one non-AP student specifically said that 0 of his teachers teach. Everything is online. Now this one is from a former out-of-state teacher. Teacher used to be able to call parents directly. Now the teacher has to submit the student issue to admin. Admin may or may not call the parent, and when admin gets back to the teacher, it may be a couple days or a few days, and the student got away with that behavior. A former Union ESS teacher said that the Filipino teachers or foreign teachers, they are not supported by the admin as well as the local teachers.
Miss Simon?
Yes.
It's 3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay. I'll continue next time.
Thank you very much. The next person we have is Sarah Lamb.
I can't stop. All right. Good evening, Board President Wilkie, board members, Superintendent Chandler. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you guys tonight. My name is Sarah Lamb. I'm the parent of a freshman student at Pace High School. I was a little bit hesitant having him enrolled in Pace this year because it's a school that's just started its inaugural year. However, with what I saw when I joined Pace, and after speaking with Mrs. Danby and the school's teachers, I decided to enroll him. And honestly, I have not regretted my decision. There are many positive things that I could say about Pace, but I only have 3 minutes. But I want to focus on 3 areas, which are mastery learning, individual learning plans, and the school community. So first, with Pace's focus on student-led mastery learning, my son has been able to work further ahead in the areas that he grasps really well. And then he can take more time in areas where he has more difficulty without the drawbacks that exist and that come with falling behind in the traditional classroom. So this has been a huge source of motivation for him to be able to work ahead or not feel the pressure of needing to take more time. As a parent, I appreciate that mastery learning means that he has to demonstrate 90% mastery of each topic that he's learning. And I believe that will ensure that he's well prepared for either college, trade school, or just going into the workforce. So second, because our students at Pace have personalized individual learning plans, my son gets to complete work that not only fulfills his educational requirements, but it's also being tailored to his interests. That has led to him staying much more engaged in his education than I've ever seen from him before. Third, I believe that Pace has a special quality that has become especially important to me, and that's its school community. My son has never really enjoyed being in school. Things such as disruptive peers, little time to engage with and get to know his own teachers, and just kind of a general sense of getting lost in the crowd, falling between the cracks, left him feeling really disconnected and discouraged in the school environment. But Pace has shown itself to be different. His peers are all engaged in their own learning. And that's leading to him seeing fewer classroom disruptions. The focus on student well-being that they have at Pace has really been encouraging students to reach out and speak up when they see someone struggling. And I will attest to that personally. They've seen my son struggle and they've reached out. Because of the relationship dynamics developed from being responsible for his own learning, he's gotten to know his teachers and they've gotten to know him. As a result, I've heard from teaching staff and Mrs. Dancy many times when they wanted to share something positive or had any concerns. Man.
He's finished.
So they notice how students are doing, they reach out with genuine care. I feel it benefits all the students and is directly related to the teacher-student relationships that can't always be developed in a more traditional setting. So what I wanted to kind of end with is PACE is a school like any other in the area, and I'm continually seeing positive benefits it has on my son and his peers. I'm really looking forward to the next 3 years as he is a student there, but I'm looking forward even more to seeing the positive impact that the school will have on our community as a whole as our students graduate and set out to make the mark on the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The last speaker we have on a card for tonight is Tommy.
Good evening, everybody. Hope you guys are all doing well. The first thing I want to start off with is actually Mrs. Lamb, if you can come back up here. Mrs. Lamb, PACE, we're doing a lot of marketing and recruiting in the community. On Monday, we went to CGMS, Casa Grande Middle School, and we had DJ Coco from the Phoenix Suns and the Harlem Globetrotters play music, and our student council and student leadership put on different activities such as egg on the spoon, beanbag race, three-legged race, water balloon fight. None of this would have happened without our outstanding parent, Mrs. Sarah Lamb. So I just want to give you a round of applause. Over the weekend, we had conversations that, again, none of the things that we needed, the supplies and materials, would have happened without this outstanding woman right here. All that I'm actually here to speak on is that we are actually going to Cactus Middle School tomorrow to continue the marketing. And then when we come back from spring break, we're going to continue the momentum. Shout out to Mr. Lavender for allowing us to run the Bless the Mic event, which had an outstanding, I would say, draw. The people that came all felt the love. And every artist that came wants to come back and devote their time for free to our student body and to our students that are going to get our EGs and paint event this Friday. We are inviting all middle schools in Casa Grande and the surrounding areas and families to come out this Friday from 12 to 3. So I just wanted to put everything in everybody's rear view, front and center, and just let you know that we are excited for what PACE is going to be offering the community. I'm somebody that can't do anything without my support. Can't do anything without Mrs. Danzy and the teachers that we have, the advisors that we have. So special shout out to everybody in the audience that's helped out. Special shout out to you guys that are supporting. Special shout out to Mrs. Rosenman, that's a Green Bay Packer fan. And special shout out to our students, especially our students that are stepping up and buying into what PACE offers. I'm from Tucson, Arizona. I graduated from the U of A, played college football, bear down. One of the things that I was able to do as a first generation college graduate, I dropped out of school before I became a college graduate, right? So I know what it's like to be away from school trying to figure it out, but I also know what it's like to be successful. And so one of the things that I want you guys to know is that we are looking for your support. If you know any 8th graders, 7th graders, 6th graders, families that are looking for a great school that offers promise, that offers accelerating career tracks, scholastic tracks, we have that opportunity here with you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Carl McNair Park right here. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Tommy's a Vikings fan, so I
That's
think
right.
probably the first time a Vikings fan ever praised the Green Bay fan.
All the vehicles.
All right. Thank you very much for closing the public hearing, public comment section here, and move into matters reserved for board action, ASB policy revisions. Mr. Lavender.
These are our first readings of policies that have been brought for your consideration. There are several of them. Specific questions or board members.
Well, is there a motion? I'll accept a motion at this time.
I'll move to approve
The first
as
reading.
recommended.
We have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, in reviewing the document, it didn't look like there was anything that really stood out to me. It's really some cleanup language in there and some shells putting to May, and I always like that when it's looking to restrict our abilities. So at that point, Mary, if you can call for the question, please.
Hayes.
Yes.
Mr. Hunt.
Yes.
Mrs. Harrington.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Donations, Mr. Lavender.
Yeah, there are several donations we're asking you to approve tonight. $750 from Casa Grande Rotary, Casa Grande Junior ROTC, and then denim hoodies valued at $2,556 from County Sergeant Michael Mejia, and $1,800 from VFW Post 1677 to the Vista Grande Junior ROTC. $250 from Lori Carter Insurance Agency, $1,000 from Pinal County Federal Credit Union, $250 from Morris RV, $1,000 from Al Riley Air Conditioning, to the Casa Grande Union's Spirit Line, $1,000 from the Casa Grande Alliance to support PACE and their open mic event, and 84 sacks of concrete valued at $504 from Paragon Concrete, and an early 60s tailgate value of $250 from Desert Valley Auto to the Casa Grande Union Construction Tech. And we recommend approval of all these donations.
Excellent. Do I have a motion?
I will make a motion as presented to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments?
No, just as always, thank you to the community and everyone for the donations. I think it's awesome.
I concur. Thank you very much to our generous supporters. At this time, Mary, call for the vote, please.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Mr. Hunt.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
And Mr. Wood.
Yes. All right, we move into the consent agenda. Mr. Lavender.
Tonight, we have a consent agenda. These are routine matters that can be enacted with one roll call vote.
Is there any member of the board that would like to pull anything off the consent agenda at this time? Seeing none, Mary, please call for the vote.
We need a motion.
Oh, that's consent agenda, so, all right.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda in its entirety, A through K.
Do I have a second?
I will second it.
All right, we have a first and we have a second.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Mr. Hunt.
Yes.
Yes, and that concludes the business before the board tonight, so we will stand adjourned. Thank you very much for coming.
Awesome.